Plata or plomo, silver or lead. Welcome to the Narco Files. Today we're taking a closer look at the dark and dangerous life of one of history's most feared criminals, Pablo Escobar. You might know him as the king of the Medellín Cartel, but Escobar wasn't just a drug lord. He was a mastermind of fear, using violence to control Colombia and even challenge governments. From bombing planes to taking out his rivals, his list of crimes is shocking. But which of his actions were the most extreme? What drove a man to commit so many horrors? Join us as we count down the top 10 most violent and shocking things Pablo Escobar ever did. Before we start, a quick question. Could you imagine living in a city ruled by someone like Escobar? Let us know in the comments below. And if you love uncovering the dark stories of history, hit that like button and subscribe to the Narco Files so you never miss an episode. Number 10. Kidnapping powerful people. Pablo Escobar didn't always take people himself, but he ran kidnappings with careful planning. He went after politicians, journalists, and even children. In January 1990, his cartel kidnapped the son of a Colombian presidential advisor as revenge for the government cracking down on drugs. In the following months, several important people were kidnapped, including future Minister of Education Maruja Pachon Castro and journalists Francisco Santos Calderon and Diana Turbay. Sadly, Turbay died during a police rescue attempt. These kidnappings weren't random. They were carefully planned to scare and control powerful people. Can you imagine living in a place where fear is used as a tool to control everyone? For Escobar, fear wasn't just a tactic, it was a way of life, a tool to dominate cities and keep people under his control. Number 9. Relying on a notorious hitman. Pablo Escobar had a secret weapon. Hitmen like John Jairo Velasquez, better known as Popeye. Popeye wasn't just any enforcer. He was forced to kill his own lover, who was also Escobar's ex, Wendy Chabarriaga. Over his criminal career, Popeye admitted to killing more than 250 people. He was also involved in some of Escobar's kidnappings, including that of journalist Francisco Santos Calderon. After years of crime, Popeye served 22 years in prison, wrote a book, appeared in the show Narcos, and even became a YouTube personality before dying of cancer in 2020. Escobar's reliance on hitmen shows just how central violence was to his power. Can you imagine trusting someone who would kill without hesitation just to protect authority? Escobar did, and that fear made him one of the most dreaded men in the world. Number 8. Assassinating allies and employees. Escobar didn't hold back. Even friends and employees weren't safe. He had his ex-lover, Wendy Chabarriaga, killed and punished staff for small mistakes. A waiter who stole silverware from his mansion drowned in the swimming pool. Allies like Gerardo Moncada and Fernando Galliano were also killed after being accused of stealing money. His paranoia grew so strong that even people close to him turned against him, joining a vigilante group called Los Pepes. This group, funded by Escobar's rivals in the Cali cartel, aimed to take him down. Escobar's way of ruling shows just how far he would go to keep power through fear. It makes you wonder, do you think fear or respect makes a better leader? For Escobar, the answer was always fear, and it kept people in line, even if it destroyed lives. Number 7. Forcing a woman to abort. Escobar's cruelty didn't stop with his rivals. He even controlled women in his personal life. In the 1980s, TV reporter Virginia Vallejo was romantically involved with him. She later revealed that one of his former lovers became pregnant without his permission. Escobar had the woman kidnapped, and his men forced her to have an abortion at a veterinarian clinic, reportedly without anesthesia. Afterward, he ordered her death. This shocking act shows just how far he would go to control every part of his life and keep his power. It's hard to imagine someone taking away another person's freedom so violently. How would you feel if someone abused their power like this? For Escobar, control was absolute, and life or death depended entirely on his decisions. Number 6. Being connected to Luis Carlos Galan's murder. Pablo Escobar saw anyone who stood against him as a serious threat, and he didn't hesitate to remove them. One of his most high-profile targets was presidential candidate Luis Carlos Galan. Galan spoke openly against Escobar and the Medellín Cartel, criticizing their violence and supporting an extradition law that would send Colombian drug lords to the United States to face justice. Despite repeated death threats, Galan refused to back down. He continued his campaign, determined to fight for justice and the rule of law. Tragically, in 1989, while giving a campaign speech in front of thousands of people, he was assassinated. His murder sent shockwaves across Colombia and the world, highlighting the extreme lengths Escobar would go to protect his freedom and maintain power. It's terrifying to think about how politics and crime collided during Escobar's reign. How would you respond if standing up for what is right put your life at risk? Galan did, and paid the ultimate price for his courage. Number 5. Supporting. M19. Pablo Escobar didn't act alone. He often used other groups to carry out his plans and spread fear. One of the most shocking examples came in November 1985, when the guerrilla group M19 attacked the Colombian Supreme Court. They took hostages and caused massive destruction, resulting in over 100 deaths, including 11 justices. The attack shocked the nation and showed how vulnerable even important institutions could be under Escobar's influence. Reports say Escobar secretly gave M19 $1 million to support this attack. His goal was to steal critical court documents, demonstrating just how far he would go to control Colombia's legal and government systems. His reach went far beyond the drug trade. It extended deep into the heart of the country's institutions. It's chilling to think about. Could you imagine a single criminal today having that much power over national events? Escobar didn't just imagine it. He made it a terrifying reality. Number 4. Destroying Avianca Flight 203. On November 27, 1989, Pablo Escobar carried out one of the most shocking attacks in his criminal career. He planned the bombing of Avianca Flight 203, hoping to assassinate presidential candidate Cesar Gaviria. The explosion happened mid-air, killing all 107 passengers on board. Sadly, debris from the blast also struck people on the ground, claiming 3 more innocent lives. Escobar later realized that Gaviria had not been on the flight. Still, the attack sent shockwaves throughout Colombia and drew international attention. The U.S. government increased efforts to stop him, showing how Escobar's actions had consequences far beyond the country's borders. This horrifying act demonstrates just how ruthless Escobar was. Human lives were no obstacle when it came to achieving his goals. Can you imagine living in a nation where such violence could strike without warning? Fear and uncertainty were constant companions for the people of Colombia during his reign of terror. Number 3. A series of horrific bombings. As pressure from the United States to extradite him grew, Pablo Escobar and his allies formed a violent group called Los Extraditables. Their mission was simple but deadly: stop extradition at any cost. To achieve this, they carried out a series of bombings and attacks, targeting not just individuals but entire neighborhoods and government buildings. One of the most devastating attacks happened in 1990, when a bomb exploded outside the Administrative Department of Security. The blast destroyed 14 city blocks, killed 63 people, and injured more than 2,000 others. Shockingly, this attack came only a few days after the bombing of Avianca Flight 203. Escobar's strategy of terror made no distinction between civilians and authorities. Everyone lived under constant threat. It's hard to imagine the fear Colombians felt at the time. Could you live in a city where a single bomb could wipe out your home, your friends, or your neighbors in an instant? This was everyday life under Escobar's reign of terror. Number 2. Police officer bounty. Pablo Escobar didn't just rely on bombs and kidnappings to control Colombia. He went after the very people meant to enforce the law. To protect himself and his empire, he offered a bounty of $700 for every police officer killed by his hitmen, a huge sum when adjusted to today's value. This horrifying incentive reportedly led to the deaths of nearly 600 officers, striking fear into the entire police force and making law enforcement a dangerous and deadly job. By targeting police, Escobar weakened the country's ability to fight his cartel and showed how cleverly he mixed terror with strategy. It wasn't just about killing. It was about controlling institutions and spreading fear so thoroughly that few dared to oppose him. Imagine living in a society where those meant to protect you are hunted instead. How would daily life feel? For Colombians at the time, fear was constant. and Escobar used it to make himself untouchable, ruling through terror and intimidation. Number 1. Thousands of deaths. Pablo Escobar's reign of terror left a staggering toll on Colombia. It's estimated that he and the Medellín Cartel were responsible for 4,000 to 5,000 deaths. These came from assassinations, bombings, kidnappings, and even attacks on police officers. His violent control made Medellin one of the most dangerous cities in the world, where fear was a part of everyday life. Even after Escobar's death in 1993, the city faced a long road to recovery. Crime slowly decreased, but the scars of his terror remain in Colombia's history. Families, neighborhoods, and institutions were deeply affected, and many still remember the fear he spread. Escobar's life is a chilling reminder of what happens when unchecked power, ambition, and cruelty combine. Could someone rise to that level of influence today? His story shows how extreme greed and violence can leave a lasting mark, not just on people, but on an entire nation. Outro. Pablo Escobar's life left a trail of fear, violence, and power that changed Colombia forever. From kidnappings and assassinations to bombing planes and entire neighborhoods, his crimes shocked the world. Which of Escobar's actions do you find the most disturbing? Could you imagine living every day under that kind of fear? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you. If you're curious about infamous figures and history's darkest events, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the Narco Files. Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss a story about the people who shaped history in shocking ways. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time as we uncover more of the world's most dangerous and notorious figures.